I go to bed tonight, when we go to bed at night, and I lay down and turn them already, go sleep. You going to sleep already? That's what she said.
That's what she says? Oh,
Sometimes we both have a terrible time getting to sleep.
yeah.
And then again, I'll hit the bed and I fall right
Yeah.
asleep.
Well, that's good. I hate not being able to get to sleep. It's the
Me
worst.
too.
So we'll start out with just some early life stuff. So what city were you born again?
I was born in Chicago.
Oh, you were born in
I
Chicago.
was.
Got it. How did you end up here?
Well, my mother went there before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandpa and grandma lived on a farm, you know where they lived, don't
Yep.
you?
Yep.
And then my mother came back and my parents divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stayed, my mother stayed there for a while, but then she went to Rockford for a job.
Okay.
And I stayed with my grandpa and grandma there.
Yep.
And then she died when I was 6 or 7. She had surgery, and that was before they had penicillin, and she died.
Hmm. And I can't remember what happened with your dad.
Never saw much of him.
Got it.
No.
I can't remember. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Mm-mm.
Got it.
But see, because my grandpa and grandma raised me,
Mm-hmm.
my mother had a brother and sister,
Mm-hmm.
so they were kind of like my
Yeah.
brother and sister. And then my grandpa and grandma also took in, my cousin Leo stayed there. His dad was a brother to my grandpa.
Okay.
And and his wife died, so Uncle Arthur and Leo stayed there too. So then after a little, Uncle Arthur worked for a farmer, but just Leo stayed there. But so he was kind of like a brother almost too.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it. And then I can't remember what was your relationship again with Aunt Marion and Carrie? How did that?
Aunt Marion was my aunt.
Okay.
And see, she was a sister to my mother.
Yep, that's right.
And then when my mother died, she was kind of like a mother to
Good.
me.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Yes, she was very good to
Good.
me.
Good.
Uncle Carrie was too.
Good. What kind of chores did you have to do growing up around the house?
Oh, I did dishes.
Mm-hmm.
I dusted. And I liked to help outside too.
Yeah.
You know, Grandpa and Grandma were farmers, and they milked cows.
Mm-hmm.
And in those days, you milked by hand.
Right.
And I liked to do that. And I was probably 9, 10. And if they didn't wake me in the morning, so I had time to go milk before I went to school, I cried.
Oh.
Grandpa said I sure changed from that.
Yeah. You probably cried if he woke you up later on.
I just knew I had to.
Yeah. Do you have any childhood memories or anything that really stick out? Like anything with your grandparents, or did you take any special, like a vacation anytime growing up, or not really, or?
When my mother died, Aunt Marion was a nurse.
Okay.
And she went right to Chicago, to Rockford. My mother was in Rockford. And she went there to kind of help look after her, but my mother died. And when Aunt Marion got back home, she had scarlet fever and evidently had contacted it there.
Okay.
And then I got it too.
Oh.
And in those days, you had to be quarantined. We stayed in 2 rooms of my grandma's house, and my grandma stayed there with us. And then in the other part of the house, well, another aunt lived there also. Grandpa's sisters lived there. She was not married, and she lived with them. And she and Warren kind of did the cooking and would hand it through to us because we had to be by ourselves.
How long were you?
6 weeks.
Oh man. I'm glad you made it out okay.
I'm
Yeah,
glad
very
too.
good. What was your favorite subject in school?
math, probably.
Okay. That was Grandpa's least favorite.
I'm sure it was. In grade school, I liked spelling.
Okay.
And my least favorite was science.
Okay.
Any kind of science.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah, I don't like science either. Do you remember a certain teacher that you liked or didn't like?
That Mr. Neuendorf, when I was in high school, was the basketball coach. And of course, he liked the boys.
Right.
And he kind of favored them.
Hmm.
And he'd ask us sometimes, he was the English teacher, sometimes we'd have to get up in front of class and say something or give a report or something. And I didn't like to do that because he kind of made fun of us a little sometimes.
I see. Did you ever pull any pranks in school?
I skipped school.
Ooh, you did. For
That's
what?
all. With Grandpa.
Oh, it's his fault then, huh?
It's his fault. Yeah. Other than that, no. I usually behave.
Pretty good student, yep. How did you meet Grandpa again? Just in school?
In school.
Got it.
Hmm.
Let's see.
He was old. I was a year ahead of him,
Okay.
but he was a little bit older than I
Okay.
because I had started when I was 5.
Oh, okay.
And they didn't have kindergarten in
Yeah.
those days. And so I was a little younger than he was.
But you were ahead of him.
Hmm.
Interesting. Let's see. What else do I got? And then remind me again. Tell me what you worked at a bank right out of school. And
Right
then-
out of high school, I
Yep.
worked at the bank. Aunt Marion wanted me to go to college,
Mhm.
but I didn't really want to do.
Yep.
And so I worked at the bank, and I really liked it there.
Got it. And you worked there for how long?
Well, I worked until I got married. Then
Yeah.
when I got married, I quit.
Okay.
And then when the first year, Grandpa worked for his brother that we were married. And then we moved up to the farm a year later than that and had our own farm. And then I learned to drive. I did not know how to drive before. And they asked me to come back to work.
Okay.
So I learned to drive because Grandpa didn't have time to take me and get me. And so I was glad I learned to drive.
Yeah.
And I liked it at the bank.
Got it.
Mhm.
Did you drive to your driver's test like Grandpa did?
No, I
Somebody
didn't
drove.
even have to drive.
Oh, really?
No,
Just
all
a written
I had
test?
was
or-
a written one. And it was an old fellow at the Chronicle office in Melrose
Uh-huh.
where you could go take it.
Yeah.
You didn't even, I didn't even go to Blackburn. And if I didn't know some of the answers, he helped me. I never really cheated in school,
Right.
but I guess you could call that cheating. a little.
Oh, that's all right.
Not much.
No. What kind of car did you drive back then?
I didn't. What kind of car did we have? I think we had 34 Chevy.
Let's see. And when was the first car you said that you always say about air conditioning? When you said you didn't need it? And...
No, I can't remember when that was, but Grandpa might just go to town and come home with a new car,
Oh.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd always have money enough, though,
Yep.
if he did that. And he came home with one with air conditioning, and I said, "What'd you do that for? We don't need that." Well, nowadays, a person couldn't stand it without air conditioning. I thought we could roll the window down.
Right. Probably pretty happy he got it afterwards.
Yeah, yes. Now I wouldn't want one without it. No.
What was kind of your favorite foods growing up? Or is there any foods you didn't like?
Yes, I did not like green beans.
Mm.
But today I can eat them.
Okay.
But I did not like green beans. It probably spaghetti and tomato sauce.
For your favorite?
Yeah.
Got it. What's some of your favorite places that you've traveled?
Oh, I liked going to Nebraska to see
Oh,
you.
yep.
And I liked going to Colorado to see Emily.
Sure.
And we went to Florida to visit Aunt Marion, and I liked that.
Got it.
Grandpa was ready to come home.
I bet.
Yeah. And I liked Michigan too. We went to Michigan to see
Yeah.
Aunt Marion.
A couple family questions. What's kind of some like a memory that sticks out about Dad? Anything growing up when he was a kid, or in school, or anything kind of unique?
One time he jumped up and he was going to ag class, and there was a clock, maybe just as they got inside the room or something, and he just jumped up to touch it and he knocked it down.
Uh-huh.
And so he kind of got reprimanded for that. I guess that's, other than that, he was,
Good student.
he ran in track,
Yeah.
you know, and played baseball and basketball, and I enjoyed going watching
Yeah.
them do that.
Good. Good. How about Kay?
In school,
Well, or growing up, or yeah.
let me see.
Right.
One night she and Jenny Blake and her friend
Uh-huh.
went to the movies with Brian Stern and Steve Tim, and Jenny went with Steve and Kay with Brian, and I don't know how come we found, I don't know if somebody told Norman Blake and Jenny's dad, and then he told Grandpa, and he and Grandpa went up there to get him. Went right into the theater and made him come home. That's one thing I remember.
Yeah. And then Sue?
Let's see, Sue. Sue was a cheerleader. Sue was kind of shy. I can't think of anything, Jimmy. Maybe I will.
How about Jay?
Oh, I remember Sue was in grade school, and she called up. They called up. She was sick and she wanted to come home. It was lower grades. I can't remember just what grade. And I went down to get her, and she got in the car and she said, "You know, I'm not really sick. I just wanted to come home." And she got home and she said, "I have to go back again because I gotta go." And I wonder if she had a man teacher and had never had a man teacher before.
Got it.
And that was different,
Yep.
and she was young and she wanted to come home, but she went back again.
Oh, well, that's good.
It was.
And then Jan?
Jan, she was in school. When she was in first grade, she was young for the grade. And she wanted to go to school though. And her teacher was the same teacher as I had when I was in first grade.
Oh, wow.
And she was very strict. I remember seeing her throw a book at a kid.
Oh, geez.
They wouldn't be able to do that now.
No, they
and
could.
shouldn't be
Right.
able to. No. But anyway, she was really kind of afraid of that teacher.
Yep.
So she, in the morning, she really wouldn't want to go to school, you know. And finally, I called the teacher and I said, "Jen doesn't really want to go. I don't know really what's wrong, but she just doesn't want to go." And you know, after that, the teacher must have changed a
Good.
little, and after that, she always was ready to go.
Got it. How about anything about when I was growing up?
When you were growing up, I can remember you used to come down, and you and Jackie, sometimes I'd babysit you a little, and we'd often go for a walk.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Yep. No, I
We'd
remember.
walk up the road,
Yep,
over
to the bridge, yep.
and up the road a ways. And I even remember, they're kind of white lace weeds. They're kind of a weed, but I can remember they'd be kind of blossoming, and they were kind of pretty, even if they were
Yep.
a weed. Yeah.
Remember playing a lot of cards with you.
Yes. Yes, we played cards. You taught me to play King's Corner.
Yep, I did.
And I like to play it yet. And I've taught a couple of ladies down at the senior citizens home.
Oh, good.
We like to play cards together, and they like that game.
Good.
So that was good.
Good. It's good to hear. How about Grandpa? What's your favorite thing about Grandpa?
He's good to me.
Yeah.
Yes. And he never complains about food or what he has to eat. Whatever, it is good.
Good.
Yeah.
Been a good husband?
Yes, he
Good.
has.
How many years now?
66.
That's awesome.
Yep, that's a long time. Yep. And I never ever thought of getting rid of him.
Good. Not once?
No, I don't think so.
That's good. You have a really good family that you guys, you know.
We do
Yeah,
have,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
And
they're-
we
and
all
they're
love
all
you.
good to us.
Yes.
The girls and your dad are good to us. All of them.
All the grandkids love you too. So.
All the grandkids are
And
very
great-grandkids
good
now, too.
to us. You bet. Yes. Yep.
Did you have, growing up, did you have like a favorite TV show or actor or?
We didn't have TV. Radio.
Okay, got it.
And there was a program on the radio. Jamie, I can't remember
Oh,
what
it's
it was
okay.
called.
When did you guys get your first TV?
Your dad was about 6 years old.
Okay. When were they starting to get popular for people to get? About that time or a little before that?
People
or-
had them a little
Okay.
before we got
Probably
one.
pretty expensive though.
Yes, and I can remember we had one, and the All-Star game was going to be on,
Mm-hmm.
and Grandpa's brother Chet and his wife didn't have one, and he and the kids came up to our place to watch the All-Star
Oh,
game
nice.
because they didn't have one.
Got it.
That's something I remember about our TV.
What who is there any particular person, like, you know, kind of famous person or anything that really sticks out growing up, or, you know, that's been influential, like president or anything like that growing up that you remember, or
Growing up.
throughout your lifetime?
I don't know. I guess I think I have always kind of favored Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah,
Always kind of
just 'cause
was
of all the-
interested
right,
in what
he did. Yep.
and kind of favored him
Got it.
over the rest of the world.
Cool. Do you think things are better today than when you were growing up?
Not really.
No. A lot more stuff to worry about today,
Yes.
I think. And
Yeah, and computers are fine, but there are some things not so good
right,
about them.
definitely. And just like with, you know, some of the wars all around and
Right.
terrorists, and you know, it's just a lot more to worry about. It seems like.
And I don't know, you know, we think of terrible things happening, like
Hmm.
shootings and murders, and, you know, we never heard about all that, but maybe it was because we didn't hear about it,
Hmm.
because the media wasn't like it is today.
Right.
But I honestly don't think there was as much.
No.
I
No,
really
think you're
don't.
right.
Because, and I think one of the things probably is drugs.
Hmm.
And I think that's a big problem. And, you know, when I was growing up, there was no such a thing.
Hmm.
And I don't know, were there drugs when you were growing up?
I mean, there was a little bit, but it wasn't. It just seems like it's getting worse now. Like
Yeah.
more and more kids are
Yeah.
getting into it at younger
Yeah.
ages and more available.
I can remember when I went to pay our taxes to Violet Olson, and we hadn't lived here too long then. Oh, maybe 5-10 years, I don't know. But anyway, we got to talking about drugs and, how bad it was in some big cities. And, neither she or I had any idea that it would be available around here.
Right.
Never thought that would happen.
Yep. Got it. What advice would you kind of give to your grandkids from your experiences growing up? Okay.
Advice to grandkids. I think you should work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should work,
Mhm.
I think, and be honest
Mm-hmm.
and kind.
It's good advice.
That's about it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Trying to think. Anything else you'd like to say, or anything else kind of growing up or throughout your life you'd like to mention? That's positive.